Would you like to hear a story about the Montgomery Bus Boycotts?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. In May of 1954, the United States took its first steps towards desegregation with the Supreme Court ruling Brown v. Board. The case ruled that segregation in public schools was unconstitutional.
We conclude that in the field of public education, the doctrine of separate but equal has no place. Separate educational facilities are inherently unequal.
This resulted in the integration of both blacks and whites in public schools across the country. While this solution seemed promising at first, the integration of schools was met with resistance and violence from many whites. The structure of many Southern societies made it to where blacks were still treated as second-class citizens. Many places, such as restaurants and buses, remained segregated. Tensions continued to rise between African Americans and whites. Finally, in December 1st, 1954, one courageous act in Montgomery, Alabama would spawn the first large-scale civil rights demonstration in the U.S. When Rosa Parks was coming home from her job as a seamstress at a local department store on the Cleveland Avenue bus.
Hello, one ticket please. Here you go, ma'am. Thank you.
Rosa Parks and her husband Raymond were active members in the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People. In 1955, the Montgomery bus system required that all African Americans must sit in the back half of the city buses. They must yield their seats to whites when the front half of the bus was full. Rosa Parks was sitting in the front row of the colored section when the driver, Fred Blake, asked her and her 3 other African Americans to give up their seats for 4 white men.
Excuse me, ma'am, you're gonna have to move. These white gentlemen don't have anywhere to sit. No. What did you say to me?
I'm not moving.
Well, that's it. I'm calling the cops.
The other 3 African Americans complied with the demand, but Rosa Parks refused to stand. Now, Parks was not the first to disobey the rules of the bus systems. A 15-year-old student, Claudette Colvin, was also arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a city bus on March 2nd, 1955. However, her case was not pursued by the NAACP because Colvin had charges of assault against her.
Alright everyone, Claudette Colvin's demonstration on the city bus can really help our cause. I say we should play this up and draw some national attention.
Hold on, according to my research, Colvin has some charges of assault against her. We don't want to align our cause with violence.
The NAACP wanted a case only related to segregation and no other charges that could cloud up the case. This would just be the beginning of the bus boycotts, and many believe Colvin did not receive the credit that she deserved for her part in the civil rights movement. Immediately after Parks' arrest, the Women's Political Council, a group of black women fighting for civil rights, proposed the idea of a bus boycott that would begin the day of Parks' hearings. The WPC printed flyers that urged African Americans to not ride the buses to work, town, school, or anywhere on Monday. African American leaders lended their support to the movement. Black preachers spread the news during their sermons on Sunday, December 4th. The African Americans at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church were strong supporters of the boycott.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been informed that there will be a massive boycott on the city bus system. I urge you all to participate in this event. 3/4 of the bus riders are African Americans, yet we are arrested or we have to stand over empty seats. If we do not do something to stop these arrests, they will continue.
The Montgomery Advisor, a general interest newspaper, published a front-page article about the planned demonstration. 40,000 African Americans boycotted the bus the next day. On that afternoon, black citizens met to form the Montgomery Improvement Association and elected Martin Luther King Jr. to be its leader.
I think we should nominate Martin Luther King Jr. to lead our cause.
The MIA met and settled their list of demands.
Let's come up with a list of demands. We can't just ask for the desegregation of city buses. That's unrealistic. How about this? We will ask for courtesy for African Americans, the hiring of black bus drivers, and a first-come, first-served seating policy.
And then these demands were not met at first. After the city began to penalize black taxi drivers for aiding boycotters, blacks organized the Carpool, followed the advice of T.J. Jemison, who had organized a 1953 bus boycott in Baton Rouge. The MIA developed an intricate carpool system of about 300 cars.
Hello, welcome to the Today Show this morning. My name is Dave Garraway, and I am sitting here with T.J. Jemison, the organizer of the mass carpool system against public transportation in Baton Rouge back in '53. Hello, Mr. Jemison. It's a pleasure to have you here on the Today Show this morning.
It's a pleasure to be here, Dave.
I wanted to ask you a few questions about the carpool system you organized a couple years ago. Why did you organize the boycott?
Well, in Baton Rouge, there was a transportation rule that barred African Americans from sitting in the first 10 rows of city buses. I decided to lead a boycott of public transportation to really show the whites of the city that since African Americans were a majority of city bus riders, they should be treated with respect.
Well, what happened?
Without the blacks' use of the bus companies would face a possible bankruptcy. They had to either desegregate or face financial difficulties.
Brilliant work. So how can this boycott idea be helpful to the NAACP in Montgomery, Alabama?
Martin Luther King Jr.'s style of peaceful protesting is very admirable. This carpool would be a great way to send a powerful message in a nonviolent manner.
Very good. Thanks again for coming.
No, thank you.
Where were we? These bus boycotts propelled Martin Luther King Jr. into the spotlight. Martin Luther King Jr. was 26 when he started organizing boycotts against segregation. He often studied the writings of Thoreau and Gandhi. Their teachings advocated for nonviolent resistance to social injustice. This style of protesting strongly influenced King's conduct during the Montgomery boycotts. The boycott lasted from December 5, 1955 to December 20, 1956. On June 5, 1956, the Federal District Court ruled in the case Browder v. Gale that this Jim Crow raw segregation violated the 14th Amendment.
After the Civil War, African Americans were declared citizens, but this separate but equal business from Plessy v. Ferguson isn't treating African Americans like citizens. I am ruling in favor of integration.
As the state appealed the decision, the boycott continued. The case moved on to the Supreme U.S. Court, and the Supreme Court upheld the district court's ruling. We are officially desegregating the city buses. Woo! Yeah! Woo! Yeah! Woo! The integration still resulted in violence and resistance from whites. Seven bombers who were also members of the Ku Klux Klan were arrested. These arrests brought an end to the bus-related violence. After the boycotts and Martin Luther King Jr. went on to establish the Southern Christian Leadership Conference with Ralph Abernathy. Its main aim was to advance the civil rights in a non-violent manner. In 1958, Memorial Stride Towards Freedom, King declared the real meaning of the boycott to be the power of giving self-respect to animate the struggles of civil rights. King was assassinated on April 4, 1968 at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. He was shot in the cheek while standing on his balcony. Shortly after King's assassination, the Civil Rights Act of 1968 was established. MLK Jr. devoted his life to serving others, and his nonviolent protest left a long-lasting effect on America. The 1999 Rosa Parks received the Congressional Gold Medal from the U.S. Supreme Court, the highest honor of Supreme Court bestows upon a citizen. Ms. Parks, here's your Congressional Medal of Honor.
Oh, I am honored. Thank you.
Rosa Parks is often considered the mother of the civil rights movement. So kids, what was so important about the Montgomery bus boycotts?
Well, it attracted lots of media attention, brought Martin Luther King into the spotlight, and helped white people sympathize with the African Americans.
Very good. Now let's go get some ice cream.
Woo!
It was a late game. I didn't get home till 11 after trying to fight traffic and everything, getting out of this arena in that area. So I was like, I'm not coming home. So
you ditched this way or
I ditched yesterday. Yes. All
All
right. So you guys, your projects are due
Monday.
Tuesday. Well, we're not here Monday, right? But I know you have other stuff going on, other projects. So use this time still as far as filming, and you're not filming me, are you?
No, I'm just practicing.
So that way you're not